So Gail Rubin, who is known to us as the Doyenne of Death, is an author of an award-winning book called A Good Goodbye, Funeral Planning for Those Who Don't Plan to Die. She's also the host of the upcoming TV program of the same name, coming soon on our local Comcast cable system. While we usually hear Gail talk about funeral planning issues, today she's focusing on life after death. With her talk, Proof of Heaven, please help me welcome Gail Rubin.
Do you believe in life after death? Dr. Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon, believes he has proof of heaven. This is a New York Times best-selling book. It's on the top of the list. And Dr. Alexander's story is quite remarkable. He had a near-death experience that brought back, he believes, proof of heaven. It started at 4:30 in the morning on November 10th, 2008. His eyes flew open, and he was in incredible pain, radiating up his back into his brain. What he did not know was that he had bacterial meningitis taking over his body. But being a doctor and a neurosurgeon, he did not want his wife to call 911 and go to the emergency room. That's the last place any doctor wants to go. She let him sleep in for a couple of hours while she got their younger son ready for school. But when she came back, he had slipped into unconsciousness and was having a grand mal seizure. She called 911, got him to the hospital. They drew some spinal cord fluid to test, and fluid that is ordinarily clear was white. It was filled, his spine was filled with pus. This bacterial meningitis infection was incredibly rare, and it remarkably shut down all of the areas of his brain that deal with personality, memory, emotion, everything that makes us human. And he was in a coma for 7 days. Yet while he was in that coma, his consciousness went someplace else. It started out being in muddy jello with roots or arteries pulsating, and off in the distance he sensed this hammering like a giant working on an anvil. This is not a pleasant place to be, but he wasn't afraid. And he had no idea how long he was in that earthworm's eye world, is what he called it. And then at some point there was music. Beautiful orchestral symphonic sound that was coming from up above, and looking up, he saw threads of white gold light that began circling and drew him up into a whole nother area of wherever he was, and he called this area the gateway. He found himself flying over a green, lush landscape, forests and fields with waterfalls and streams, and there were people there. People in colorful costumes. They're all really happy. There were dogs frolicking around. Yes, dogs do go to heaven. And he found himself floating on a flying carpet, a magic flying carpet of iridescent blue butterfly wings. And next to him was this beautiful girl. She had high cheekbones and deep blue eyes and golden brown hair. And they spoke to each other without words. It was thought communication. Questions, of course, arose in his mind. And she let him know, you are loved and cherished dearly and forever. You have nothing to fear, and there is nothing you can do wrong. We will teach you many things here, and you will be going back. To which he thinks, back to where? He had no clue who he was, where he came from, any relationships that he had in this physical world. And he proceeded on even deeper into this other world that he called the core, up farther into the blackness of space, a darkness filled with light, and communing with the creator of our universe and many other universes. He learned so many things that he is still working to unpack 4 years later back here in our physical bodies. And in fact, back here on Earth, while he's laying in this coma for 7 days, his family and friends made a pact to hold on to his hand the entire time he was in that coma, until either he died or he came out of the coma. And other information in this story is that we go back and learn that Dr. Alexander was adopted at the age of 4 months. And he was not able to meet his birth family until about a year before his near-death experience. It turns out he had a sister, a younger sister, who died in 1998, 10 years before his near-death experience. And a few months after his near-death experience, he was sent a picture of Betsy, his sister who had died. And when he looked at her picture, she had high cheekbones, blue eyes, and golden brown hair. She was the girl on the butterfly wing. She is Dr. Alexander's proof of heaven.